It won't let me. You see? Kevin? Can you see?
I think you're good, Betsy.
You think I'm good? Okay. Let me mute that. You can't get it back to the Zoom meeting. Kevin, I can't see. Can you see my name or anything? It won't let me go back.
Go to the bottom right. Is there a Zoom icon on the bottom?
Yeah.
Hit that.
That's a help button.
It's not in the open applications down on the bottom. It kicked you out and then it's just showing the screen.
Hang on. There it is. Okay. Yeah, it just wasn't showing. Okay. I think everybody's on, that there's nobody waiting. Everybody's on that's coming. We appreciate it. If you could, I'd like to call the meeting to order, please. And if you would please join me in saluting the flag, which we do at every meeting. All set? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We're all in the same room. We're looking at a flag and
I'm just trying to get that.
okay. All right. So, anyway, this is the January 21st meeting of the Town Board of Unionville. And tonight, to start our meeting, we're going to have a special presentation, which we're really pleased about, from our from Eastlight Partners. We have Mr. Will Bliss, who is the, I guess, your Director of Project Engineering.
Correct, yeah.
Great. And then you guys remember Eastlight Partners because they presented to us probably a lot of times while we were, after we chose them, and then as we were kicking off the Unionville Solar Program. And now Will is going to explain their relationship with Common Energy. Also with us tonight, representing Common Energy, is Malcolm Bliss, VP of Partnerships, who is no relation to Will Bliss, correct?
Correct. Yeah, total coincidence.
Yeah. Got his names. Well, why don't we turn it over to you, and you can help our residents. This is recorded, and they'll watch it later on YouTube as well.
Great.
Help us walk through what you do, and I think you can share the screen. Let me know if you need anything. Okay?
Yeah, definitely. I'll share my screen in just a sec. Betsy, thank you for the intro, and excited to be here, and really excited about the progress the project's made. I'm have just a couple of slides that I'll share with everyone, just to provide a high-level overview of the project, how it came about, how we got to the point that we're at today, and then also just kind of describe the idea behind community solar, and then I'll kind of hand it over to Malcolm and explain how we've partnered with Common to help bring community solar to Unionville. So with that, let me share my screen and share a couple of slides here. So as I mentioned, I'm Will Bliss, Director of Project Engineering here at Eastlight Partners. We are a solar development company that's really focused on developing best-in-class projects in the Northeast. We have quite a few projects now that are in operation in New York State, and several other ones under development. And so we've really made it a focus to focus our time and attention in kind of this portion of both New York and the greater New England region. So just at a very high level, a community solar project can be different from some other solar farms that you might see. The basic idea behind community solar is the project the project is shared among a group of subscribers. So as the project produces energy, there's a long list of subscribers, some businesses, some local residents, and they each basically will receive a portion of the credits that are generated by the project. And those credits are automatically applied to people's bills, and that's how you'll see a discount on your bill each month. And I'll get into that in a little bit more detail. So the project came about, the town issued an RFP back in 2018 that we participated in, and we're really excited to be selected to be the developer on the project. The project was focused on the town's landfill along Route 55, and is also located on some land adjacent to the town landfill. So the project's about a 2 megawatt project. It involves close to 7,000 solar panels. And it's currently in the middle of construction now. And so, you know, the ways in which the town is able to benefit from this partnership is we as ELP Unionvale Solar, the project, are going to be a long-term tenant on the land, and will be making lease payments to the town over the life of the project. Additionally, we'll also be making tax payments to all of the local taxing jurisdictions. You know, the project is being engineered and constructed by firms in New York, and obviously supplying the area with local jobs and demand for local goods as well. But kind of the main reason that we wanted to join you here tonight is to better explain both kind of how community solar works, and how residents can subscribe to the project, and also just answer any questions that people might have about kind of the actual mechanics behind this, so that everyone can join the project and see the savings, while also feeling confident that they understand kind of all of the mechanisms at play here. So we actually are in the process of working with the town to actually have the town be a subscriber of the project, and hopefully should have that wrapped up soon. But essentially the way and the idea behind community solar is that solar equipment is expensive. There's a high upfront cost to install solar on your home, or if you don't have a home that is friendly towards installing panels, maybe you have a roof that's south facing, or you're a renter, you're not able to kind of live or enjoy the benefits of solar. So community solar allows you to subscribe to a solar project, and basically you would be allocated a small percentage of the output of the project. So as the project generates power and feeds that into the grid, the project will get paid in the form of credits by the utility. And basically a portion of those credits would be allocated directly to your bill as a subscriber of the project. So for example, if the project generates $100 worth of credits in a month, and you as a subscriber own 1% of the project, you would get $1 applied to your bill. I'm just making up numbers for simplicity's sake. But the way that you as a resident will actually see savings is the credits are valued at $1, and you'll actually only pay about 90 cents for each one of these credits. So each credit that you purchase will be worth $1 on your utility bill, but you will save 10% on the purchase of that credit. And so, as I had mentioned, eSlight Partners, we are kind of focused on pure origination and development of these projects. We're a small team of 4 people, and we don't have the bandwidth to handle the actual acquisition of all of these residential customers and the management, and to manage all of their accounts throughout the life of the project. And so what we have done is we partnered with Common Energy, who focuses all their time and attention on both customer acquisition, the management of customer accounts, to ensure that you know, they're receiving all of the credits that they're due, and all of the payments are being processed securely. And so we, as I'd mentioned, Common is our partner on this project specifically, which is why you've seen both, I guess, the project advertised through both our website and Common's, because we are both working together to fill all of the subscriptions for the project. So with that, I will hand it over to Malcolm and let him just talk about the sign up process, more specifically for residents.
Super. Thanks, Will. And thanks to you, Betsy. Thanks to the board. Thanks for all the residents of Union Vale for supporting this project. Common Energy is a New York State-based company. We've been supporting the New York State Community Solar Program since the end of 2017, one of the first to offer community solar to residents in New York. We're very excited about continuing our work with Union Vale, serving the residents of Union Vale. And at this point, we're serving over 30 other community solar projects across the state of New York. As a New York State company, grew up with the program and being registered with the New York State Public Service Commission, it's a very exciting next step to continue growing this program. So in order to enroll, it's very easy to do, and you may have seen we have a URL set up, a web address set up specifically for Union Vale. This is the same mechanism that over 8,000 others have used to enroll. So we're now serving over 8,000 subscribers and have earned, and we're honored to have earned from them a 4.9 rating on Google reviews and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. It's our mission and purpose to continue that track record by providing residents of Union Vale with excellent service also. When you go to the URL, and you can see that on the bottom of the page here, where it says commonenergy.us/projects/union-vale, and I'll go ahead and put that in the chat before we're done in case anybody wants to see it there. But when you go there, you'll encounter a web flow, which means just providing information through the web that will connect you to the solar farm as Will described. So the work we do once we receive that information from any subscriber, we work with NYSEG or any other utility. We work with NYSEG. We provide them the very particular instructions which they require that says, somebody has enrolled, please direct the credits that Will described to their account so that you can start receiving the savings benefits from community solar. And exactly as Will described, you receive a credit on your utility bill. For every $1 of credit on your utility bill, you pay 90 cents, 90% the value of the credit, which is kind of like getting a $100 gift card but paying only $90 for it. And you can do that every month, and you do that every single month when you subscribe. For every gift card, every credit you get, you're paying 90% the value of the credit. So by that way, you're supporting the development of this project and many more across New York State to further the transition to clean energy. You're putting money in your own pocket, and you're saving money for the local economy, benefiting local economy. The process takes less than 5 minutes, or it may take 5 minutes if you want to go through it slowly. Some people do it as quickly as 2 minutes, and there's always help available for anybody who has questions along the way or wants a guidance on how to complete it. When you go to that web address, you'll see an online chat. You can have online chat right away, or you can call the phone number that you see on the page here that Will has presented. So the enrollment doesn't take much time. There's no cost to enroll. The savings are guaranteed and will never change. There's no cost to exit the program if you decide to do that. Most people ask me, well, why would I do that? Most people would never want to go back to paying more for electricity. But in the event you move out of state or out of the utility service territory, know that there's no requirement to fulfill any number of years, and you can exit at no cost. That's how the enrollment process works. A little bit about Common Energy, and I look forward to answering your question and make sure we're providing you the support and service that we have earned by serving 8,000 others.
Yeah, thanks, Malcolm. That's all great. And with that, Betsy, if there's people that have some questions, or if you have some follow-up questions you'd like to ask, kind of on behalf of the general public, happy to take any questions now.
And the board members may have questions, but I have
Sure.
one. I was wondering, Will and I were talking, I thought if we were, 99.9% subscribed, it wouldn't be a great idea to, push people because I don't want them to be disappointed. And then Will explain, first of all, he said we had about 150 subscriptions left. Is that correct? Give, take,
Yeah,
plus minus?
yeah, it's, I'll give you the exact numbers. There's 944 kilowatts of capacity left, which will serve 160 average households.
Oh, it's not as many as I thought. I think we were talking hundreds before. Oh, that's amazing. So we've just
Yeah,
started.
the total capacity is bigger, but a good deal has been subscribed already, which is, there's a lot of demand for it.
Oh, I got you. So it's already been subscribed for. So we have about 160 left. Okay, I got it. All right, and then that's interesting. So, Will, if for some reason we become oversubscribed, as our residents see this, I think, given that it's not difficult to, get out of this program, I just don't see any reason why people won't want it. They were very excited about it when we first brought the idea to them. And since it's easy to get out of, but if it's oversubscribed, can you tell them that they could get another program if this one did sell out, so to speak?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's if this project were to be fully subscribed, I know we personally have a couple of other projects that are in construction that are also in Central Hudson's utility, and they would be able to subscribe to those projects. I believe Malcolm's probably also working with some other companies that have solar farms in the Central Hudson region. So if you visit either one of our websites, they'd be able to find another solar project that they could subscribe to. And the savings are pretty much 10% across the board. So they should see those same savings with any project.
Okay, but we want Unionvale to be subscribed first. Is our
Yep, no, definitely. Yeah, if they use the link that Malcolm provided, then they'll go to Unionvale first, and they'll only subscribe to another one if it fills up.
Great. All right, and we will send out that flyer to our residents and on Unionvale Mail, and we'll post it on the website stuff, and because there's a lot of information there.
Yeah, great.
Does anybody else have any of you guys have a question? You want to go?
Yeah, I just got a quick question. So I signed up for it just to kind of track and see how the process went. And I haven't heard anything or had any contact from you guys yet. So I guess the question is, will we be contacted by you guys, closer to the end of the project, or should we have already received some sort of contact?
Yeah, thanks, Kevin. Just to clarify, did you join the wait list on our website, or you signed up through Common Energy's website?
I'm sorry.
He didn't know which website you signed up under.
I want to say it was probably, remember we had that card?
Yeah, okay, so it's probably early on.
Yeah,
on
the indication of interest.
Sure. You know what? So Kevin, I had basically shared the list, the wait list that got generated from our website with Malcolm's team. And if for some reason you didn't, I know Malcolm's team had followed up with each person on that list, but if some reason we missed you, we can double check. Had you not heard anything from either one of our teams since your initial sign up?
No, I haven't heard a thing. I've gone and checked my email and searched my email for both Common Energy and Eastlight, and I have nothing.
Okay. If you wouldn't, I apologize, or Malcolm, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to say thanks to everybody who joined up the wait list. And it is sometimes hard to get back in touch with people on a wait list. Assuming it's the same list, everybody for whom we had an email got an email. Everybody for whom we had a phone number got a phone call, at least one, which doesn't mean you connect. So I hope the website will be of use to anybody who wants to enroll and does not yet have a confirmation, or the phone number on display. There's two course of action which you can take. You can go ahead and enroll, and you'll immediately get a welcome email because it's automated. The machine does it. It sends you a welcome email right away with some required state information as well as confirmation of your enrollment. Then you'll see periodic updates thereafter, which also happens automatically. or if you call the phone number, somebody can say, you're absolutely right, not in the system yet, and they'll guide you on terms of how to get into the system.
Yeah, and Kevin, even to directly answer kind of your question and kind of the process as well, we had offered kind of the wait list to all Unionville residents early on in the project, and hopefully you at least got kind of an initial email from me kind of notifying that the project's still in early stages. We'd be following up closer to the end of construction. So obviously it sounds like there was some disconnect on getting us handing you off to Malcolm's team, but at this point, we'd be happy to either take your email and get you signed up and enrolled, or you can use the link. And basically the next step after you get the emails from Malcolm is once the project goes online, utility credits would start rolling to your account. So we're projecting the construction to wrap up this spring and have the project fully interconnected kind of in the late spring, early summer, at which point credits would start kind of slowly getting applied to your bill. So just to kind of give you a timetable there.
Okay, great, guys. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course.
That's great. Good.
I'll turn mine down.
Yeah, I'll turn mine up. Okay. All right. Does anybody else have any questions? I can tell you, if they don't, you've certainly armed us so that we can better answer questions as residents call in.
Great.
And just having the phone number and the website will enable them to go directly. Because if they haven't gotten a call by now, basically, they should just call the number or go online and just sign up, which is what happened to me too. I thought I went in and maybe I didn't. So I'm going to go ahead and do it this weekend. So we appreciate that. Anything else? Ed, you got any questions? No, you're good. Okay. Boy, you were pretty thorough. I don't hear any questions out there, gentlemen. So thank you very much.
Yeah, of course. No, again, thanks for the time. And, Malcolm's team is there to help if anyone has questions kind of throughout the sign up process. So look forward to having the rest of the town join.
I think they will. People are very excited about it. So,
Great.
Thank you both. Nice meeting you, Malcolm. We'll be talking to you soon.
Sounds
Bye
great.
now.
Thank
Thanks
you.
a lot.
Have a good night. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Well, at this point, we're going to continue on with the meeting, and I'm at the time for the supervisor's report, and let me go to my report because I'm on the resolution. Hold on a minute. Okay. I have there. One thing I did want to announce, and I'll put this in Unionville Mail when we send out the solar tomorrow. Dutchess County Public Transit is hosting an informational meeting about countywide bus stop, the study that they did. And I just am announcing it because we get a lot of stuff and I don't want to waste people's time with things that are, repetitious or whatever. But I think this is important because we don't even get that, what is it, Dutchess Dash? We do, but it doesn't seem to service anybody here. So we're not getting great bus coverage. And I do think that some of our seniors would really enjoy this. So I'm just going to say that on Tuesday, January the 26th at 5:30 p.m., there's going to be a Zoom meeting during which the county is going to unveil this study that's been done by Passero Group, a consultant that they studied. And they really need feedback from municipal leaders and I think also from residents. Frankly, that's why I want you to know about this, because one or two of our municipal leaders will be on there, but people that may want to zoom in and get some information, I think it would be terrific. If you would let me know if you're interested, aside from the town board, I'm going to send all of you the link if you can join. But if you let me know you're interested, I will send the information with you. And I know they'd appreciate the feedback, and I would love to get more service in Unionville. So if you can help us do that, that would be most appreciated. As far as a financial report, I want to say that the revenue was down for the year by approximately $340,000. But we did not end up in the red for this year, which I had been predicting 6 months ago that we'd potentially be in the red. But we saved in some important categories. Snow removal, we didn't have a bad 2020 for snow removal. We had no summer camp or pool labor costs. We had no library costs. There were other smaller miscellaneous categories such as Social Security, the concession stand, special events, and the recycling center saved a little bit of money this year. We promised those guys if they could keep saving us money, we'd save up for a new booth for them over there. So they're motivated. Anyway, so that was good. Those things actually helped us. And we did, even though we were way down on revenue, we were not in the red. When we close the books by the end of this month, I'll be sure and I'll share with everybody exactly how we look. From a cash flow perspective, we ended up the year at 92% of our annual goal for revenue. We kind of kept there steadily throughout the year because all of our money came from tax revenue. So, but the good news is that we ended up the year at 84% of our budgeted expenses. So not only were those bigger expenses saved, but there were individual departments that did a really good job. So we saved money on our budgeted expenses as well. Our cash balances as of 12/31 are $2,759,825 in the general fund, $459,806 in the highway fund, some of which is reserve and that sort of thing, for a total of $3,291,630.84. The town councilmen have been sent the following reports via email, as is our regular procedure: the cash receipts journal, the list of deposits for highway and general fund, the monthly building department report of cash receipts, the abstract of signed vouchers that were paid, and the monthly budget versus actual report. The escrow report contained an error this time, so I have a new copy for the board members that was emailed out tonight that was fixed when it was fixed. I've been working with our liability insurance carrier, as you guys all know, is NYMER, and we did a really strong review of 2020, and they gave us an additional $1,696 today, $1,696. We got a credit for not having Oktoberfest. So when we save money and don't have events that for which, you know, there's liability and we get covered for all of that, they did refund that money, which was great. From a staffing perspective, we just had an employee return this week from quarantine, but currently we have 2 additional employees out now, one of whom has tested positive. The other one has a relative, a son who is positive, and a spouse who's developing symptoms. So we're going to have some people, which is why we're being very strict in town hall. We're trying, during tax collection season, we don't want to find ourselves in a position where everybody's got to be quarantined from here. We need to be there and covering the windows. So we're doing the best we can to disinfect and keep things, keep people at bay to protect the town there, especially this, again, for the season. So as a result of the difficulty getting vaccines disseminated, and I could talk about that, I wasn't going to, because I think there's a lot of information that comes out from the county, but I participate in weekly calls with the county about vaccine dissemination and other things. But because of the difficulty getting them disseminated, and recognizing that some of our seniors might have had trouble getting ride to the pods, the points of distribution, we set up a ride program to enable them to call us for a ride, free round trip, after they get their appointment. We haven't gotten that many calls because people are having so much trouble getting appointments, but we do have volunteers that have signed up. We can take some more volunteers should people get busy. But I really want to thank those who have offered to drive our seniors, and that would be John Welsh, Tom Farmer, Dave McMorris, Andrea Casey, Kathy Wellman, and myself after hours, not during town hall hours. But that's a good group so far because we haven't had our seniors, we haven't had many calls, but I think we're well equipped. And if anybody else, we'll be reaching out to board members if they're available, if we get desperate. But thank you for that. And again, encourage people that are 75 and up that need rides to please call town hall and they will be matched up with the driver. I mentioned the vaccine rollout has been so troublesome. I think I'm not going to address it. I just feel like there's so much information out there. I don't want to waste our time, but I'm happy to share any additional information that people haven't heard. And one thing I will make sure, we've sent this out on Unionville Mail recently. Everybody needs to hook up for sign up for that Duchess delivery for vaccine information. You don't need all the other stuff they send out because they really are prolific. But the vaccine information, the way that we've got it that's set up now, the state is using those 8 super centers that they want to distribute through, none of whom are really close to us, none of which are close to us, but the distribution points that the county is set up, they have, they request 3,000 doses, they get 700. And last week, for example, they were shorted 300 doses that they were promised, and people had signed up for appointments and they had to cancel 300. So it's really tough. And I know they're apologizing. I think the state should let the counties handle it, but they're refusing to do that thus far. But the good news is if you sign up for the Duchess delivery, they will email immediately when they know how many doses they have. And the first people that are on there getting it, and people do get appointments, but they max out pretty quickly, which everybody's apologizing for. But do sign up for that. There's a lot going on here on many projects, even though the building is quiet. We have a new climate smart community coordinator named Jen Rubo, who some of you saw last month when she spoke briefly during the dam discussion. We asked her to talk about a project she had just done with these environmental students of Vassar, and they'd gone through this whole study, and there were a lot of accessible information that they put together. But anyway, the determination was that Unionville was carbon neutral, and it wasn't the most scientific study, but it was quite impressive for environmental students in college. And the reason that Unionville is carbon neutral at this point is because we have so many trees. And so it's an interesting study, and there's more going on there. One of the things going on, and we're going to be talking about these environmental projects next month, because we've gotten 2 more small grants to help us pursue some things. And one of the things that Mr. Ed Kading and I are working on together is studying. He's doing most of the work, but I'll help him in some regards. But we do have we're going to be studying all the culverts, the situation, because a lot of them are being overpowered by too much water, and we need to know our complete inventory, and he's going to be conducting an assessment. And I think we've gotten a small grant to help us build this resiliency tool so we can measure things like that and find out where the town's infrastructure may have some problems going forward. So anyway, more of that next month. Several programs. I think that was really it. I wanted to cover just the conservation environmental stuff that we'll talk about next month in the meeting that's coming up, and encourage everybody to sign up for the solar discounts. And I think you've gotten all the financials that you probably care to hear about. All right, with that being said, I'd like to turn it over to the town board member reports. Since you're here, Councilman Derlin, would you like to share anything?
I'm good.
Good, okay.
Thank you.
Councilman Welsh, unmute. Everybody can unmute because we're not together.
I would just like to say I have signed up to do driving for any senior 75 or older that needs a ride, and I can go during weekday hours. So hopefully, if anybody has an opportunity that they need a driver, please contact the town clerk, and we'll be glad to help.
Okay, sorry about that delay in the unmuting. Councilman McGivney, did you have anything you wanted to share? Not unmuting. Oh, there you are.
No, nothing at this time.
Okay, Councilman Frazier.
No, nothing either.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. At this point, we're going to turn it over to the town highway superintendent and get a report from Mr. Ed Kading, who's sitting here. Hold on one second. He'll be on camera in a second.
Hold it down. You there? Yep.
Okay. So first off, I'd like to start by thanking the board the staff in this building, especially Betsy, for helping me get me through my first year of this job. It's made it very, very much of a pleasure, contrary to what others may think. So anyway, I just wanted to thank everyone here for helping me because I needed it. Couple things I want to touch on right now real quick. Go to my notes. As the board may have noticed or may not, you're going to see a pretty good uptick in us buying parts for the equipment down at the highway garage. We have a new staff member who is a mechanic. So we're doing a lot of in-house fixing of the equipment. We're saving a lot of money by not sending it out. Our mechanic is doing an amazing job. He is fitting very well in with the rest of the crew. And I can actually see a lot more productivity from the entire crew with this one addition. So I think I think that was a good move. I think it's working out very well. But you are going to see an uptick in parts purchases. Our trucks were not in as good a condition as we had hoped. So we're getting on top of it now. So we're kind of catching up. I've got our 5-year plan complete for what we're going to do for the roads in the next 5 years. I do have a 5-year equipment wish list, if you will. I'm a little concerned with finances as we're going forward for this year because I'm not sure what the state's going to kick in. And so I'm going to be pretty conservative on my 5-year plan for this year. I have several roads that I want to retop, just put a top coat on of asphalt and then oil and chip after that to preserve it. The 3 roads we did last year on a complete renovation, I want to top those 3 roads to preserve our investment that we did last year. On Cutler, we've got a bridge that I think is of concern. So I've got the town engineer is going to check that out for us, hopefully next week, and get back with some sort of an idea report. As the residents of Cutler know, in heavy rainstorms, that bridge does not take the water and the water floods over the road. I have a semi-solution for that, which I've kicked out to Soil and Water. They've given their blessing to that plan. It's going to be a relatively inexpensive fix, but I think it'll be a permanent fix. But the bridge itself is a concern for the structure of the bridge. Shaughnessy Road, we have a pipe there that's a large steel pipe that we need to replace, but it's in a stream. So the engineer is also looking at that, seeing about getting a DEC permit to change that pipe out. Shaughnessy is on my list for 2022 for a complete renovation, similar to what we did on Bloomer last year. Clap Hill is also on that list for 2022 for the same type of work as well as Cutler. For 2021, as far as resurfacing, I've got Flint, Bloomer, and Jordan Court are just going to get oil and chip to protect our investment from last year and 2019. Burbank Club, Robinwood, Old Canby, and Mallory, to make Mallory and Old Canby a complete job. We're going to finish what was patched in, and those 2 roads and Barmore will all get, those roads and Barmore are scheduled for top coat of asphalt and then oil and chip on top to preserve it. Cutler and let's see, Cutler and Shaughnessy, I did those. 2023, same sort of scenario for Brush Hill, Tompkins, O'Brien Hill, and Ricks. Top coat of asphalt, oil and chip to follow. 2024, we have Wendy, Susan, Blueberry, and Cole. Same kind of thing. We're just going to top it and oil and chip to seal it and preserve it. 2025, we got Burbank Village, Milewood, Duncan, and Hoofprint. Same sort of a top coat and then a oil and chip on top. I don't think do we need to go into the equipment wish list, or are we fine without that for now?
Well, I think, basically, sorry. I think what would be helpful is that we let the board look at this, and then we can
Sure.
talk about it in detail later.
Okay,
They've been getting sent the list,
okay.
and so they can
I
look at
wasn't
it.
aware they had the list.
Yeah, just
Okay.
this evening. So they'll get or this afternoon, they'll get the list and they can take a look, and then either at a work session, we could talk in detail and hear your thoughts and move things
Okay.
around. But it's impressive. We got a 5-year equipment and purchase plan list, which I'm really pleased with, to have, a plan to
Right.
reach for. Thanks.
Okay. A couple of other things I have. The stone shop, we really need to address the windows. I've had a couple of companies come out. They look at them and they say, you're really not, you're kind of wasting money just fixing the glass. You really should take them out and replace them with energy efficient windows. So I'd like the board's permission to pursue that and get pricing for that. Two other major things that are coming up in the town is I'm getting weekly complaints on dead trees, falling trees. And I'm almost thinking we should adjust our budget somehow to address the trees more and take money from somewhere else. And I'll have to review the budget and try to make that work.
We'll talk about that later. Yeah,
Yeah.
we can do that.
I mean, we just got so many trees that are hazardous, and
Well,
we've got to do something.
I think
And
if
then
you can
our-
hear me, wait, if I can just interject there, we've been talking with our, one of our town attorneys, Jeff Battistoni.
Right.
And one of the things that I think that Ed, the conclusion that we came to, and George Kolb has been involved with this as
Mhm.
well. And that really is that I don't think it's clear to the residents who's responsible for what and when.
Right.
So what we're doing is doing that research and we're trying to come up with a paragraph or so that explains to residents who's responsible and under what circumstances. It's not all cut and dry.
No.
And it's not the
But
same
if there's
measurement every time.
hazardous trees we need to take care of.
The
If
hazardous
they're
trees,
hazard
yeah,
to the traveling public, we need to do something.
and that's your call. So, and you're still
Exactly.
worried about that. So,
Right.
but anyway, we will work on that, and then we can talk
Yeah.
through numbers and share them with the
Sure.
board.
Okay, lastly, one of our major in-house projects this year is we're going to try to get all of the, as Betsy mentioned earlier, we're going to try to get all of the smaller inadequate culvert pipes changed out, and the old steel pipes that are rotted and are also plugging because of the coarse, rough bottoms on them. So that's going to be our major in-house project this year, is to try to get all the culverts updated in this town. And we've got a pretty good jump on it, so I don't see it's going to be that bad a project. And that's all I got.
That's a lot. That's great. Thank you. Thank you very much for that. So we have more to review in February. That's great. Thank you. All right, next up is town
have a
clerk.
question
Is
for Ed.
our town clerk. Hi, do you have a report?
So it's recycling center past season, and as I mentioned,
Can't wait. Can't hear you. Can you hear?
can you hear me? Does everyone can hear me? Okay. It's recycling center season, so you have many options about getting your pass. You can come to town hall. We have the window open. You can drop your application off with the guys at the recycling center, or you can mail it in and we will mail it back to you. I don't know if Supervisor Moss is going to talk a little bit about the new tax collection piece with the e-check. Are you going to cover that later?
No, I think, why don't you go ahead, because we've had success this week.
Yes, it's been nice to see that the new feature that's been set up for property tax collection. It's called e-check. If you go on the website, there is a link on the tax collection page, and you can pay your property taxes online. And there's only a small convenience fee of $1.75. So that eliminates, the need for mailing it, and you get an instant email confirmation that says that it has been submitted. So that's a nice new feature I think the residents are going to enjoy, and it also eliminates a trip either to the post office or to the town hall. So that's it for my report this week.
No, that's great. And they can also pay by credit card.
Mhm.
But I think we've had 3-to-1, the e-check to credit card this week, right?
Yeah, I think because of the convenience fee and not being a percentage, just being a flat rate, it has been a little bit more attractive.
Yeah, it's terrific, especially in this environment. Thank you very much. We didn't have anybody sign up to make comments tonight, so we're going to go ahead and go through. At this point, I'd like to start the departmental reports. Our recreation. Thank you, sir. Councilman.
Yes.
would you like to do that one?
Can you hear me?
Oh, Councilman Frazier, will you take it? Yes.
Yes. Okay. The report here for 121 installed the split rail fence along Duncan Road leading up to the soccer fields. Weather's been perfect for tree work, so they've been taking down dead trees around the park, including the large maple in front of Town Hall. I noticed that the other day. Also been cleaning up down trees around the park and on the trails. Installed a 6-inch gutter on a town clerk's outdoor window at Town Hall and installed a railing counter to keep people from stepping off the front stoop, as well as giving them a place to sign documents. This will keep exposure levels to a minimum while we're still allowing the town hall to operate safely. Majority of Christmas lights from Celebration of Lights have been taken down. The maintenance of the large equipment continues so that they're ready for spring. And they've been doing a daily sanitation regime in the parks and rec building to ensure the building is safe and sanitized for the ASP/TGTT program.
That's great. Okay, thank you, sir. Councilman Derlin?
Sure. I'll give an update on the Thank Goodness There's Time More program. Our program has seen fluctuation in registration numbers over the last month due to a combination of the holidays, an ever-changing school calendar, and families quarantining. However, we continue to welcome new faces to our program and receive positive feedback from the families. We remain vigilant with our sanitation and social distancing and are happy to report that all the children have stayed healthy so far. We are looking forward to the rest of the school year and seeing how we can continue to support parents during this time.
All right, wonderful. TGTT is a good program, and it has been I've gotten some of the nicest emails from parents.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that's a big success because I think our families need it. At this point, I'd like to call on Mary Jean Calvi, our animal control officer, for her report. Hello, Mary Jean.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I just wanted
Wait a minute, Mary Jean. Can we hear?
Can you hear me? Okay. Good evening. I just wanted to give you the report from the December, as well as a breakdown of what went on last year in our town as far as animal control. In December, we had 6 lost dogs and 6 found dogs. And actually one of those found dogs who went unclaimed for a period of time was transported to the Dutchess County SPCA up in Hyde Park. In terms of the year 2020, which again was probably a unique year because so many of our residents, as well as everyone else, was home. I think the numbers are kind of impressive. We actually had 13 lost dogs. At least, again, those were 13 that were reported to me. Who knows how many more that maybe found their way home. There were 19 found dogs, 19, 9 complaints, 1 case that actually did go to court. And we had 1 transport up to the Dutchess County Animal Shelter in Hyde Park. And along with that, I also got approximately 10 miscellaneous calls. And what I mean by miscellaneous is that many times I think residents are kind of unsure of who to call. So they might be calls regarding species that this office doesn't directly deal with. I've had calls about bears, calls about foxes, cats, horses, goats. In years past, some of the residents will even know that there was a pig call that we went on a search and find mission. But anyway, those types of calls, I'm not necessarily equipped to deal with those, so they usually get referred to another office, whether it's the sheriff's office or a wildlife rehabilitator, whatever, just to make sure that, again, the residents have some place that they can go to if I can't help them. If there was anything that I did want to leave with the residents for tonight, it's very important. If your dog is missing, please call me at the town hall number. I think the extension is 10, but just listen for the prompt and you'll be able to get a hold of me. Let me know that your dog is missing. You know, by the time it's 2 hours has gone by, dogs can be far away at that point. So kind of share it, because I do have certain ways that I can try and help you get your dog back home to you. One of those ways you should be checking is Lost Pets of the Hudson Valley, which is on Facebook. That site has been wonderful in reuniting so many pets and their owners. I can't say enough good things about it. And again, one of the most important things is we do have a license law in this town. I would really encourage all the residents to please license their dogs. If you have a neutered or spayed dog, it's only $7.50 a year. If you have an unneutered or unspayed dog, it's $15.50. And I do believe that there are some exceptions for service dogs. So the town clerk could probably go into that better with you than I can. But just as an FYI to you, the reason why I encourage you to have your dog licensed is just briefly to tell you about two separate incidents that occurred in our town in the past week. Two separate dogs. The first dog went missing, and the owner had absolutely no clue where the dog was for 36 hours. Now, if you're a dog lover, and your dog, I know if my dogs go missing more than 15 minutes, I'm already frantic because I think about all the horrible things that could happen. So this poor family went for 36 hours. They never called me until it was probably a good 24 hours later. I did have the dog in my possession, and unfortunately, we could have reunited a whole lot sooner. But the dog did wind up going to the Hyde Park shelter. So the owner, now being 36 hours without his dog, wound up paying a board bill, an impoundment fee. They did not have a license, so they needed to pay a rabies vaccine fee, and they needed to pay a license fee. Plus, they didn't have their dog for 36 hours. So that could have all been avoided if the dog had been licensed in the first place. The second dog, same week, went missing. This dog was licensed, and within an hour and a half of getting the first phone call, the dog was reunited with its family. So to me, that kind of spells it all out. You know, just please license your dog. And that's about it.
That's wonderful. So when they license, I think the town clerk handles all the dog licenses. And do you send out reminders, Andrea, when the year is up? I think I got a bill in the mail.
We send annual
hand it.
reminders, just, you know, for renewal. And then also there's like a notice section on there if your rabies is overdue, and you can provide the updated information. And as Mary Jean was saying, service dogs, the state still charges a $1 surcharge, but there's no other fee for service dogs.
That's great. Okay. Thank you, Mary Jean. That's an excellent report. And this is a dog loving town, so I bet you're busy.
Always busy, but it is a dog loving town. And I must say thank you to all those residents who take the time when they find a dog to really go above and beyond trying to find its owner. They help me do my job. So I do really appreciate that as well.
That's wonderful. Great. Well, thank you. Thanks for being here. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay. Next up, we're going to go through the old and new business. I promised at some point to keep workers' compensation from Dutchess County, the exit from Dutchess County on the agenda. Since the last report, which was, we had heard from the county, and they wanted a further explanation as to, why we were offering what we were offering and as far as the settlement. And they received right after the holidays, I think it was at least a 3-page letter with extensive detail as to why all of this made sense and some of the issues we had. I think once they digest that and they check up on all those paragraphs, that we'll hear back from them, and we will keep you posted when we do. 11.2 is the solar development, which I think the gentleman covered nicely as far as how to residents hook up. But if you drive by Route 55, you will see a big change there. And the only report I was going to give tonight, having talked to Eastlight and the construction people through George, is that it looks like will be up and running in the spring, late spring. So that's really great news. Now, with regard to Furnace Pond Dam, we had a really interesting engineering analysis last month. And so I wanted to mention that that's going to be on the agenda, obviously, for a long time. So where we are now is we had a full engineering analysis. I think during that very good discussion with a lot of the residents and all the town board members, I think most of us felt like it looked like most people were in agreement. I remember Councilman McGivney speaking on it specifically, that boring test would probably be our next step so we could see what the real condition of our dam is in, the masonry, the concrete, that sort of thing. So what's going to happen is there are two things. One, the boring test is the next step that engineers are recommending. But given that they don't want any water going into the boring hole and freezing and, warming up and freezing, they don't want to do anything to further compromise the dam. So they are not going to want to do the boring test. So it wasn't on the agenda. We don't have to vote on it yet because we haven't gotten the full estimate. We've got the money in the budget for it, but I think it may be less than that. So they're going to work up some numbers and we will have them to look at in February. And then we can authorize it, and then they will decide when to do it based on whether they have to build a platform next to it, and then they have to bring in this big rig that has access and bores down. So it'll be a few more months. They're hoping no snow and ice, and they'll go from there. But in addition to that, they're going to be probing upstream the sediment near the dam. So there's a lot of sediment impounded around the dam, and we've asked them to try to help us understand how much sediment is there. So they're going to be, there's a lot of accumulation, especially after McKinney Pond Dam failed. So they're going to probably put a little skiff in the water and do some testing around probing so they can give us some more answers to questions that we've asked them. So we'll probably put that on the agenda in February. That too would be done. They don't want to be out in a skiff in the middle of a freezing, 11 degrees like it was this morning. But so we've got a little bit of time, but we'll get that authorized once we get their numbers. And then just to assure you, that engineering report, which was 153 pages, went to the DEC, and they sent me an email saying they had received it on behalf of the town of Unionville, and they're backed up as you would expect. It'll be a while before they get to it, but they'll comment when they do. Meanwhile, we're just going to keep moving forward. As far as new business goes, this week our response was submitted to the town of Beekman's appeal over the cell tower case. You remember we did win that Article 78 that last May, and then Beekman submitted a response. And then this week our attorney, led by Mr. Jim Nelson, who's on the call with us, and his team submitted the response. So we'll wait and see what happens there. I'm going through this quickly. Next up, in the first quarter of every year, since I've been here at least, we've done a review of all of we actually created some new policies after our first 3 years ago. And we put into those policies that every year the board would analyze them, read them, and decide if they need to be tweaked. So all of our policies and procedures that are in that category will be reviewed for the February meeting. I'm going to send the town board members a list so they can have and certainly copies of those policies. If they need to be tweaked, we'll tweak them and then vote on that in a meeting. If they're good as is and we want to let them go for another year, we'll just note that we reviewed them. The master fee schedule is under review in the first quarter. I know the building department is working on some pro formas for us based on what other towns are doing. All department heads will be asked to review their respective fees. The town board will get that list from them as submitted by the various departments, and we'll review it and approve it, hopefully in February. We have done it in March before, but we might get it done in February. Okay. At this point, I think we are finished with new business, so we'll move on to resolutions. And tonight, the big topic on our agenda is annexation. So if you just give me 1 second, I need to get organized in one thing. I'm going to pull something up on my computer and I will be right back. Give me 1 second, please. Thank you. All right, thank you. Okay. All right, I think we're all set. Let me make sure. There we go. Okay. All right. So now under the topic of annexation, which as everybody remembers, that we discussed in a public hearing, and with a joint public hearing with the town of Beekman that we had in the Long Barn, and I believe that was well received and a lot of people watched it after. So at this point, what we're going to do is review the resolutions following the process that must be followed as the town board has been working on this, and we will vote on 3 resolutions tonight. The first one is resolution number 21. Got it? Oh, thank you. I just had a printing glitch that I had to get a copy of. I apologize. All right, so we are now looking at resolution 21, which is the annexation of parcels. Councilman Derlin, would you like to read that?
Yeah.
All right, are you?
Okay. I think it's there we go. You got me now?
Yep.
All right, resolution number 21 of 2021, acceptance of lead agency status. The date, January 21st, 2021. Whereas on October 1st, 2020, the town of Unionville Town Board resolved to pursue the annexation of 76.9 acres of 500 acres in Time Warner Park and Forest, which 76.9 acres is physically in the town of Beekman. And whereas on October 9th, 2020, the town of Unionville Town Clerk, Andrea Casey, delivered notice of the town's intent to seek lead agency status, together with copies of the environmental assessment form, the resolution, petition, and exhibits relating to the proposed annexation to the town of Beekman Town Clerk, the town of Beekman being the only involved agency. And whereas no involved agency has given notice that it intends to seek lead agency status, and the 30-day notice period having expired, now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Unionville accepts and assumes lead agency status for the seeker review of the proposed annexation of 76.9 acres of Unionville-owned parkland in the town of Beekman.
Thank you for that introduction. Is there a second? Everybody's on mute. I'll second. All right, for resolution number 21 of 21, Clerk Casey, do you mind giving us a roll call vote?
Councilman Frazier,
Aye.
Everybody's going to need to unmute if you can, gentlemen.
Councilman McGivney,
Aye.
Councilman Derland,
Aye.
Councilman Welsh,
Aye.
and Supervisor Moss.
Aye. All right, thank you very much. Resolution 2021 carries unanimously. Next up is resolution number 22. But I think the process calls for, and we've been through this. The process calls for that we would we kind of want to go through the short environmental assessment form, and I'd like to draw the town board members' attention to part 2, the impact assessment. This is the part that's completed by the lead agency. And we have reviewed all of these questions before, but I think what, as a town supervisor, I'm learning more about land use from all these projects that we're doing. And I think that the term they constantly use is, have we taken a hard look at these things? And in part 2, for those of you who don't have a copy of the short environmental assessment form in front of you, it has questions in here such as, will the proposed action create a material conflict with an adopted land use plan or zoning regulation? And the answer for us is no. Will the proposed? Yeah, I think that since, yeah, well, we can go through the list, but I think, will the proposed action have an impact on the environmental characteristics that cause the establishment of a critical environmental area? Nope. Will the proposed action impact existing public-private water supplies, public-private wastewater treatment utilities? No. Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of important historic, archaeological, architectural, or aesthetic resources? The answer is no. Will the proposed action result in an adverse change to natural resources, wetlands, water bodies, groundwater, air quality, flora, fauna? No. Will the proposed action result in any increase in the potential for erosion, flooding, drainage problems? Absolutely not. And I mean, these are all, these are.
We should just note that we're not doing anything to the property.
Yeah.
This is just a transfer.
Can we hear you? Anyone?
Yeah, I mean, good.
Take mine off.
All right. All right, I was just saying, we should just note that we're not doing anything actually to the property physically.
Right.
This is just an action about us taking over the
Right.
rights to the land.
Right. The point being that we're moving a property line. We're not actually impacting the land itself. Number 11 is, will the proposed action create a hazard to environmental resources or human health? No.
No.
So when we walk through every one of these questions in part 2, we would have to say that nothing about moving a town boundary line is going to do anything detrimental environmentally to our property. So with that being said, pardon?
Make sure everybody else agrees with that.
Well, I think that's what the resolution is for.
I guess so, yeah.
Yeah. So what we'll do now, and does any other council member have anything to add to that, or should we go forward to the resolution number 22? John, I think you have to unmute, John. There you go, John. Councilman.
Okay, yes, I would like to move forward. I think we've answered all
Not
those
yet.
questions and go on to resolution 2122.
Do you mind repeating that?
Yeah, I said, I think we've adequately answered all those questions, and I think we should move on to resolution number 22 for 2021.
Great. Yep, you want to go ahead and read it? Councilman Derland's going to go ahead and read that. Thank you.
All right, here we go. Resolution number 22 of 2021, adoption of negative declaration, dated January 21st, 2021. Whereas by resolution 20-34 of October 1st, 2020, the Unionville Town Board determined to pursue the annexation of 5 tax parcels consisting of 76.9 acres of Unionville's 500-acre Timor Park and Forest, which 76.9 Unionville acres are located in the town of Beekman. And whereas by resolution number 20-34, the town of Unionville authorized the execution of an environmental assessment form, part 1, by Unionville Supervisor Elizabeth Moss, determined that the proposed annexation involving less than 100 acres was an unlisted action under seeker, and further determined to seek lead agency status for a coordinated environmental review of the proposed annexation. And whereas the town of Unionville Town Clerk on October 9th, 2020 delivered a lead agency notice and the annexation resolution, petition, and attachments thereto, including the short form environmental assessment form part 1 to the town of Beekman Town Clerk. And whereas by resolution 2121 adopted this day, the town of Unionville Town Board has assumed lead agency status in the annexation proceeding. And whereas the town of Unionville Town Board has, as will be reflected in the minutes of this meeting, reviewed the environmental assessment form part 1 for this action, considered and discussed the questions presented in part 2 of the EAF annexed hereto at Exhibit A, and further considered and discussed the facts relating to this proceeding. Now therefore, be it resolved that the supervisor is authorized to answer no to each of the 11 questions in part 2 of the annexed EAF, and this board determines that the proposed annexation will not have a significant adverse environmental impact based on the foregoing review, adopts a negative declaration, and authorizes the supervisor to so indicate on part 3 of the EAF annexed hereto.
All right, thank you, sir, for that introduction. Is that working? Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Who seconded it?
I will second it.
Hold on.
Okay. All right, roll call vote. Councilman Frazier,
Aye.
Councilman McGivney,
Aye.
Councilman Durland,
Aye.
Councilman Welsh,
Aye.
and Supervisor Moss.
Aye.
Betsy, you gotta unmute.
Okay, sorry about that. Can you hear me? Resolution number 23 of 2021, annexation of town Beekman parcels, entitled Resolution with Finding, Reorder, and Determination of Public Interest and Statutory Compliance, dated January 21, 2020. Whereas on October 1st, 2020, the town of Unionville, this is dated January 21st, 2021. Whereas on October 1st, 2020, the town of Unionville Town Board resolved to pursue by Article 17 of the General Municipal Law the annexation of 5 parcels consisting of 76.9 acres of Unionville's 500-acre Timor Park and Forest, which 76.9 acres are located in the town of Beekman. And whereas on October 9th, 2020, Unionville Town Clerk Andrea Casey delivered to the town of Beekman Town Clerk copies of Unionville Annexation Resolution 20-34 of October 1st, 2020, and Unionville's annexation petition with exhibits, including a lead agency notice and environmental assessment form part 1. Whereas on November 23rd, 2020, at the town of Unionville's Timor Park Long Barn, a joint public hearing with the town of Beekman was held pursuant to General Municipal Law 705 regarding the proposed subsection 705, the proposed annexation, notice of which public hearing was published in the Poughkeepsie Journal on October 21st, 2020, emailed to the town of Beekman Town Clerk on October 16th, 2020, and posted on the Unionville website, bulletin board, and town hall door. On October 23rd, 2020, it was mailed to the Arlington Central School District, the Unionville Beekman Fire Districts, the Dutchess County Water District, and the Dutchess County Resource Recovery Agency. And whereas the purpose of the joint public hearing was to hear testimony and accept evidence and information regarding the annexation petition, whether the petition complied with provisions of Article 17 of General Municipal Law, and whether it would be in the overall public interest to proceed with the annexation after considering the interests of and impacts on the territory to be annexed, the town of Unionville, the area of the town of Beekman outside of the parcels proposed to be annexed, and any school or other district or public benefit corporations which are either wholly or partly within the territory to be annexed. And whereas the proceedings of the joint hearing, which were transcribed by the Unionville Town Clerk, are annexed hereto as Exhibit A. And whereas because the Unionville Town Board by Resolution 2034 of October 1st, 2020, had determined to seek lead agency status for the seeker review of this action, the Unionville Town Clerk delivered notice of Unionville's intent to seek lead agency status to the Town of Beekman Town Clerk on October 9th, 2020, together with copies of the environmental assessment form and the annexation resolution, petition, and exhibits. And whereas no involved agency, such as the Town of Beekman, which was the involved agency, having given notice that it intended to seek lead agency status, the Town of Unionville this day has by separate resolution accepted lead agency status, and thereafter on this day also adopted a negative declaration and determination that this annexation will not cause any significant adverse environmental impacts. And whereas the Town of Unionville Board has this day convened to pursuant to General Municipal Law 711 to determine whether the petition of annexation complies with the provisions of Article 17 of the General Municipal Law, and whether, after considering the effects upon the lands to be annexed, the Town of Unionville, the remaining area in the Town of Beekman, and the aforesaid districts and public benefit corporations, it is in the overall public interest to approve and proceed with the proposed annexation. Now, therefore, this board, having reviewed the petition, resolution, notices, filings, and other documents relating to this proceeding, including the transcript of the joint hearing at Exhibit A and the documents received and annexed thereto, finds, determines, and resolves that the petition for annexation and the proceedings related thereto as detailed above were taken in compliance with Article 17 of the General Municipal Law and pursuant to General Municipal Law subsection 711. It is further found, determined, and resolved that the proposed annexation is in the overall public interest for the reasons presented at the joint public hearing and in the documents received by this board, including Beekman's inconsistent and intermittent history of taxing the people of Unionville for the parcels proposed to be annexed in certain years and not taxing them in others. And limitations imposed by state law prohibit Unionville constables, notwithstanding the terms of the Town of Unionville Code, from exercising authority beyond that of non-law enforcement personnel as to misdemeanors and petty offenses on the lands in Beekman, which impairs the ability of Unionville to properly manage Timor Park, including Furnace Pond, a fishing and picnicking site, portions of which are located in both Unionville and Beekman, and inhibit the deterrence of vandalism in the park, and require calls to the Dutchess County Sheriff's Department, which is a less efficient process for the Town of Unionville and the County Sheriff's Department. And Unionville will benefit from having both the governance authority as well as the responsibility, which comes with the ownership of public parklands, which were gifted by Jean McKinney Connor, as well as her husband, Ralph L. Connor, without state or federal aid, and, quote, dedicated in perpetuity to the recreation and nature conservancy uses of the people resident in the Town of Unionville, unquote. And a disagreement between the Town of Unionville and Beekman regarding the use of a small portion of Unionville's Timor Park lands located in Beekman for a cell tower, which was needed to eliminate a service gap and improve public safety, had a secondary impact on Unionville of being subject to an unsuccessful Article 78 proceeding brought by Beekman, which it has appealed. However, more important than the unrelated cell tower disagreement and the ongoing expense of it to Unionvale is the fact that this surprise disagreement alerted Unionvale to the fact that it could be subjected to Beekman's propensity to interfere with Unionvale's ability to govern its own lands. And there will be no impacts on the town of Beekman, as the property in question is undeveloped parkland owned by Unionvale. And there are no residents or public services on these uninhabited lands, such that there will be no impact on the Arlington Central School District, the Beekman or Unionvale Fire Districts, the Dutchess County Resource Recovery Agency, or the Dutchess County Water Authority. And the town of Unionvale, as the owner of the land on which the Furnace Pond Dam is located, which land is in Beekman, is facing a significant restoration expense that will likely require the issuance of a long-term bond debt. Again, it is important and in the interest of all the residents of Unionvale that we have jurisdiction over the lands which we own and are responsible for. And it is further found, determined, and resolved, the town of Unionvale petition and proceedings for this annexation have complied with the provisions of Article 17 of the General Municipal Law. And it is further found, determined, and resolved that upon the completion of this annexation, because the parcels proposed to be annexed are vacant, wooded, and unimproved, Unionvale is not required to assume any indebtedness or declared liabilities of Beekman, should there be any. And it is further found, determined, and resolved that the members of the town board of the town of Unionvale shall endorse the annexed order, and the Unionvale town clerk shall file a copy of said order, the resolution to proceed with annexation, the petition for annexation with exhibits, this resolution, the notice of the joint hearing, and the transcript of the hearing, and all written objections and documents received in her offices and those of the clerk of the town of Beekman. May I have a second?
Second,
Thank you, sir. May I have a roll call vote, please?
Okay, Councilman Frazier,
aye.
Councilman McGiffey,
Aye.
Councilman Durland,
Aye.
Councilman Welsh,
Aye.
and Supervisor Moss.
Aye. Resolution number 23 of 2021 passes unanimously. So with that, it looks like the clerk's going to be working tomorrow with all that paper she's going to be putting together. But that is really everything on this evening's resolution and motion section of our agenda. I would ask for a motion to approve the warrants and let us pay the bills. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second,
All in favor of paying the bills?
Aye.
Say aye.
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 All right, we're all in favor. With that, since no one signed up to make any public comments on town issues, I'd like to have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
All right,
Aye.
thank you.
Aye.
Thank you, everyone, for being with us tonight. And we will see everybody on February 4th at 7:30 p.m. for our work
Thank
session.
you.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, Mr.
Good
Nelson.
night.
Thank you.